Hey, you right here. You scrolling on Twitter. Stop. Hey, everybody. Stop. Come on, come watch us. This is Dylan and Ross Sanders Sports. I am your host, as always, Dylan Sanders. You can find me on Twitter at Dilly Sanders. Joining me today is my co-host, as always, Ross Jackson. You can find me on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. Ross, I'm going to stop you before you even say anything because I need to get into something I did this weekend. I did something awesome this weekend. I want you to know.
What did you do?
Made as many shots as Ben Simmons did in the fourth quarter in an elimination NBA playoff game.
I.e.
Wait, we don't need to get into the. We don't need to get into the specifics, Ross.
Right. But you did better than zero, is what I'm understanding, right?
I did at least the same.
At least the zero. Oh my goodness! Hey, Dylan, raise your hand if you actually, truly, seriously thought that the Atlanta Hawks would be in the Eastern Conference Finals at any point during the season.
For audio listeners, I am raising both of my hands.
You liar.
It's just, no, none of it. Especially if they started 14-20.
That was the moment right there when you were like, these Atlanta Hawks got something.
Yep.
What an incredible weekend.
First off, I just want to say, can we take the interim tag off of Mr. Nate McMillan?
Yes,
Put some
please.
respect on his
Please.
name.
Respect.
There's
please.
no way that they're hiring anybody else in the offseason.
Could you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
How would
the Atlanta Hawks get to the NBA Finals. They lose to hire Jason Kidd in the offseason.
to not make the playoffs next season? Basically, okay. But here's the thing. There's a big difference between the Atlanta Falcons and the Atlanta Hawks, right? That's what the Atlanta Falcons did. They had an interim coach that did a great job at the end of the season with them, and then they canned him and didn't go with him. And now I think you won't see the Atlanta Hawks make the same mistake because clearly the Hawks and the Falcons are very, very different.
I'm just happy for the people of Atlanta that they have one team that they can somewhat count on now.
About time.
And listen, shout out to the 76ers, man. I mean, the Atlanta Hawks, not shout out to the 76ers. Shout out to the Atlanta Hawks ending the process era. Or do we still believe in the process, Ross?
Oh, the process is over. The process is over.
We're done for?
There's no way that this was a part of the process, right? Like the original process. There will be a new process. In fact, I think there was a new process this year because you changed head coach, right? Like once you there's no carryover of the process at this point.
Once you change GM and head coach?
Yeah, like the people that introduced the process are no longer there. The process is already done. And the process worked. It worked in that the team got better. It just didn't achieve the championship.
I have a question for you, Ross. Mm-hmm. Is it possible that Ty Lue is who we thought Doc Rivers was, and Doc Rivers is who we thought Ty Lue was?
Go more in detail with that for me. That Ty Lue is a more successful coach than we expected him to be, and Doc Rivers is actually a less successful coach than we claim him to be.
Yes.
That's very interesting. I still think that Ty Lue lacks a team identity. So I'm curious to see what he does with his team maybe next season in terms of being able to create that in terms of forging that. Because right now with the Clippers, there's no real identity there, and they're not going to find one now that Kawhi's out for however long he's going to be out. But
they might find a new player, though.
Right.
The next man might step up. And Terrence Mann.
Terrence
Mann he deserves our performance. Devin Booker had his first career triple-double. That was awesome last night. But I want to give a shout-out to Terrence Mann. Coming out here scoring, manning up, and out here scoring 39 in an elimination game.
I think Terrence Mann deserves a shout-out. For me, the performance of the weekend is Devin Booker. But I agree with you that Terrence Mann deserves a shout out because he has kind of come out of, is it fair to say nowhere? Because I feel like it's really just been the playoffs for him. Like he didn't have this opportunity, first of all, during the regular season. And if he did, he didn't capitalize on it the way that he's capitalizing on it now when it matters the most.
This year, he averaged 19 minutes a game.
Yeah, just didn't get the opportunity very much. Yeah.
Before Kawhi went out. and he's capitalizing. He's capitalizing on his chances.
Big time. Big time. And can we also say that Paul George is actually is doing a good job in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Like, I think Paul George is actually playing pretty well. It's just not enough, without somebody else stepping up. But you're seeing Terrence Mann step up. So I think maybe if you get that consistent third player, then all of a sudden they have life in this Phoenix Sun series. But they did drop the first game of the series. So I thought that was a pretty big one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was big. But it was mainly. Devin Booker's awesome, man. Can I just say that?
Yeah,
Can we just say
he's
that?
outstanding, man. It's ridiculous. And oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his first name somehow. But Ayton.
DeAndre.
DeAndre, thank you. DeAndre Ayton was spectacular last night too, and has been throughout the playoffs as well.
Dominating, baby.
Dominating. That's all I think of when I think about him now. I can't. I forget.
I mean, it's
I forgot
perfect.
DeAndre, but
for
I
the
will
type of
remember
player that he is, for the
dominating.
type of center that he is, the type of player he is, it's perfect.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't ask for anything better.
No.
Tonight we get Clippers Sun. No, we get no games tonight.
No games tonight.
Wow,
no basketball
that's
tonight.
weird. That's
know.
weird.
I know, it's strange. When's the last time we didn't have basketball? Like the All-Star break, right? That'd be the last
Yeah.
time we didn't have a game on
Yeah,
a certain day.
I don't like it.
Hey, but we get Dodgers Padres tonight.
Dodgers?
Dodgers. Oh, the Dodgers series. I like it.
Oh,
I like it.
ready for the playoffs?
Shay's here.
Huh? Hello,
Shay.
my boys. Shay, yes.
Our
Shay. Hello, Shay. Yes.
Shout out
As soon as he found out that he went on YouTube, because that's his thing on thing of preference. That's what he used. And anyone listening,
Nice.
you listen to us anywhere. Literally anywhere. We're right now. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, fullpress.com. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on Twitch. So
And the Full Press app too.
and the Full Press app. So anywhere that you like listening and stuff, we're live there.
We're everywhere.
All around the globe. We're worldwide.
Dare we call ourselves the new
Mr.
Mr. Worldwide?
Yes.
Yes.
I like that. That's where we
Yes.
both went.
I love that we both went for a Pitbull reference.
Ross, it's because we're the same person.
I know. Oh, did not expect. People probably didn't come to today's show expecting a Pitbull reference, though. Let's be honest.
All right. Do you want to get us? What? Do you want to get into our favorite thing from Twitter? Favorite thing
Yeah.
from Twitter. We both have some good ones.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to start us off?
Sure, I can go with mine first.
Let's do it.
This is a clip from about 2 years ago, I think, of Ben Simmons streaming on Twitch streaming. And
Okay.
he's trying to get another NBA player, I don't know who, to play with him, to hop on stream with him. Here we go.
I see you a PUBG master though, so I'm gonna let you be.
You getting it? Hop on, man. Play one.
Yeah, we need one more, man.
You got time. Who do you play tomorrow?
Hawks.
Yeah, you got plenty of time.
Oh boy! Yikes! Oh Ben, no. See, this is why you don't be negative.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't discount people. Don't discount teams. Don't do that. Stop it. Stop it. Oh, that's terrible. Yikes. All that for what?
Yeah, I don't know.
5 points in a game 7. Yeesh.
Yeesh.
Man. That's
What
not
a
great.
yeah, no. Yeah, come on,
That's
Ben.
not great.
Come on, Ben. You're better than
Yikes.
that.
Yeah,
You're better than
that's-
that, Ben. Oh,
was-
are you? Are you?
That was a very good one. I will gladly show my favorite thing from Twitter today. It's a little bit selfish because it's something that I tweeted. But over at the Locked On Podcast Network, we've started doing video for all of our stuff. So I have needed some help. As you can see, even in this small, tiny box, there is a bright, shining light coming from my face. And I am notoriously a shiny person. on camera, and so I need some help with makeup and things like that. I have my makeup brush right here. And today there was no combating whatever is going on with me today. So my poor fiance tried to help me out as best as she can, and as she often does with all of this. And I got to put out this great video of us trying to get this together. Oh, and Dylan hasn't seen this yet.
Oh yeah.
Trying so hard.
It's not playing.
It is stubborn. I think it's just too dark.
Ross is a little shiny boy.
I'm very shiny.
Yeah, I think it is too. But it does help with the
I feel ready to go to battle, though.
it does help with the shininess though. Like where it is.
A little bit.
We're gonna take that off of you.
Okay. Watch this. This is great too. I have to go wash my face, right? She decides that she's gonna try to just like
You're connecting.
wipe it off. Oh no, I'm recording all of this.
Oh, you're recording.
Yeah.
All of it. Fantastic. Okay, yeah, you gotta wash your face.
It just would not. So we tried like a dark. We tried a dark. What is it called? Concealer. That didn't work out. And I have like a translucent foundation that I've tried a couple of times. It has worked before, and we were not able to get any of this to calm down today. It just, there is a natural shine to my existence today that can't be dulled.
Oh my god, these replies are so good.
Oh, it was so fun.
Gabrielle Star can't stop a star from shining. David Grubb, she's literally on dome patrol. Is a good one. Oh my goodness.
This has been seen by a lot of people, by the way, too, which I think is hysterical.
I love this. I love this, Ross. This is
But, yeah,
awesome.
it was a great moment because I literally, like, right now my YouTube video for Locked On Saints is premiering at this moment. So we are live here, and it also looks as if I am live over at the Locked On Saints YouTube page right now. So that's how late I ended up publishing my episode, because we tried so much short of just like sanding my face down to alleviate all this, and we couldn't get it done. Could not get it done.
this is from Shay.
Shay.
I have a question. I wanted to hear y'all's opinion on what the Pels could do to make that step into the playoffs next season.
It all starts with Teresa Weatherspoon. Wouldn't you agree, Dylan?
Please.
It all starts with Teresa Weatherspoon. No, I mean, look, I think that it's a couple of things. I think you put more shooters around Zion. You let Point Zion develop, and you allow that to be the vessel through which your information, through which your offense ends up producing. You put more shooters. You get the wings that it feels like New Orleans has needed for years and years and years, and then you get a competent coach, right? You get a coach that's able to. The thing about Stan Van Gundy is that he was supposed to help the Pelicans on the defensive side, and that never came to fruition. So I think if you can get a coach that can get them into defensive intensity, help them out over on the defensive side, you still get a little bit of help there. But I kind of wonder if you shift to a bit more of an offensive-minded coach this time around, and somebody that can just sort of be a like culture leader, that can be a championship, potential championship coach for you.
You know what the biggest thing that I think that the Pels could do, something I want to see happen personally,
What's that?
is in the NBA draft, say they don't move up into the top 4, which they probably won't. If they pick at 10, I would love to see them get Corey Kispert out of Gonzaga.
Sure.
Best shooter in the draft, I think.
Best shooter in the
easily.
draft.
It would be. I think it would be met kind of similarly as the Cameron Johnson pick out of the Phoenix Suns. That's where I kind of go. He's an offensive-minded guy, competitive. I would love to see Corey Kispert. Corey Kispert has that competitive edge to him, and also should be available around 10 or 11, depending on where the Pels pick.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the NBA draft tomorrow, speaking of the NBA draft, we have the lottery tomorrow.
We do, and coming on at the halfway mark, we have Jackson Gatlin coming on to share the opinion, so we can share in our dread or hopeful. I don't know where he stands about tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get his opinion
But
on
we'll
what
get his-
could potentially happen.
Yeah, but also me and Ross are going to be live here during the NBA Draft Lottery tomorrow, and I am really nervous. I'm going to be on pins and needles.
Now, remind me when it comes to the NBA draft, the order in which it goes. Do they go from 14 down to 1 or 1 up to 14?
14 down to 1.
Oh, man. So you're going to have to really
Yeah.
yike.
Yeah. I won't know. We're going to be doing this. I won't know. The lowest the Rockets pick could fall is 5.
Wow. So even like 14 through 6,
I'm just going to be wondering.
you're just waiting.
Because
to
the
figure it
scary
out.
part is if you know a team moves up, if the team
Right.
when a team moves up, but you
Right.
don't know where they move up to.
Right.
So the more teams that jump up into the top 4 that aren't supposed to be there, that means the more teams in that top 4, top 3
Yeah.
are moving down.
So let's say that we get to like pick 9, and the Pelicans, for instance, haven't been selected yet.
You know that they're in the top 4.
You know they're in
No,
the top
if
4.
if it's pick 10 and the Pelicans aren't there, you then know that they're in the top 4.
right.
If
And
if
so
the
that
team
would be
that's supposed-
fantastic for me.
It's
Not as great for
horrifying.
you.
Horrifying for me. I need no team to jump up. Any team that jumps up will. And the funny thing is, the draft lottery selection does not take long. It is not a long
Right.
process, but
Right.
it feels like it's gonna feel like 20 years.
Yeah.
Like during the Zion year, what did it feel like whenever you were there? Like during the Zion year,
Oh, yeah, it felt forever.
because
It felt like forever.
you knew that you moved up at one point, but then you didn't know
Right.
where you moved up to.
Right. And I think for that one, it was even like you had to wait even longer to see if they moved up, because I think they were able to get into like 7 or 8 that year, if I remember correctly. And then so it wasn't until then that you were like, oh, they're in the top 4. So you sat through 7 selections until you realized that. At least for me, by the 4th selection that's made, I'll feel pretty good in terms of the Pels. Let's go, Shay. That's what I'm talking about.
Hell's top
Speaking
4.
into existence.
No, I'm not finishing that sentence, Mr. Miet. Listen, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. That's about it. That's all I can really say is that I'm nervous.
Yeah. And understandably so, honestly. Like, understandably so.
And like I said, I just want to get into the top 4. I don't. There are many scenarios if the Rockets don't end up with Cade Cunningham, if they end up with a top 4 pick, this is a good situation. And we're gonna talk about this more with Jackson in about 10 minutes.
Very
so I'm
excited
excited
for
for that.
Jackson to join us again, man.
It's been a while, but I love
Yeah.
Jackson. He's one of my
Same.
favorite guests that we have.
Absolutely. Our guy.
But man, yeah, that's really all that's on my mind is basketball right now. That's what's running my mind because we got the playoffs.
Understandably so.
Playoffs have been awesome. We got the lottery tomorrow. We got playoff basketball tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself with no NBA game to watch tonight.
I know, it's going to be weird.
Shay, I'm coming over.
I want to get to this because I want to talk a little bit about the Olympics. We had a ton of the Olympics qualifiers over the past few days, over the past weeks, all of that. And I really, really am excited for a couple of things in particular. Allison Felix back in to the Olympics. This will be her 5th Olympic berth, first time since giving birth. And I don't know if you know or not, but Allison Felix, the track star and Olympian, she ended up clinching her 5th. I believe it was in the 400-meter dash. This is the first time since she gave birth not too long ago. Her and her daughter, tons of complications, unfortunately, throughout the birth. Very scary moment for the family. And they both pulled through. They're both healthy. They're both happy. She ran the 400-meter yesterday or a couple days ago and qualified for the Olympics by coming in second in the 400 meter, which was awesome. So she's back in. Allison Felix, of course, LSU alum, come through, hold that tiger. And then we also had everything going on around Sha'Carri Richardson. Also,
Carrie, I think it's Carrie.
Sha'Carri, thank you. Sha'Carri Richardson, also hold that tiger. Really
No
incredible
Tigers
stuff.
in the Olympics, baby.
Yo, track school,
excited.
gymnast school.
Gymnast school, man. I am excited for the Olympics. I didn't realize it's a month away.
Yeah,
I'm so
it's
excited.
like right there. It's right there, and it's gonna be right there too. Like it's no, it's in Tokyo this year. Never mind. It comes to LA the next time. Never mind. But I'm very excited for this. And Sha'Carri Richardson, you and I were talking about her yesterday on the phone. Runs the race, ends up just leaving everybody behind, as you would expect. Fastest woman in the world. And she goes up, hugs her grandmother, and then reveals in the post-run interview that her mother passed away a week ago. And here she was not only running, but qualifying for the Olympics. What an incredible, incredible human being.
Let's go, Sha'Carri. And Sha'Carri also mentioned that her girlfriend picked her hair color for the race.
Awesome.
and she said the reasoning was that it matched her fierce competitive nature.
Hell yeah.
And it did.
Remember, yeah,
that bright
absolutely.
orange. Oh yes, fire orange.
Perfect. It's perfect. Somebody had tweeted something and was like, does anybody realize that Sha'Carri's hair turns into the flame emoji when she runs? when she hits. But her long speed is incredible. It's incredible.
She accelerates fast.
It's remarkable. So I'm so excited. All of this at 5'1" as well.
And she also didn't have that great of a start. So like imagine her getting a great start and then also
and that's
records be watching.
Right.
Watch out, records.
Yeah. And she'll have to. I mean, like if she's going to win, like if she's going to medal in the Olympics, like they'll need to clean up the start. Like her start will have to get better. So if they're able to do that,
to be fair, Ross, with that start, her 100-meter dash, her qualifying dash, 10.64, I think, was the third fastest of all time. So
that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Let's go, Sha'Carri Richardson. She's 21, the future of U.S. track, not just women's track, U.S. track.
U.S. Yes. I look forward to her being Simone Biles in just a few years, right?
Can we
talk about her as the most decorated track Olympian, right? Not male or female.
Can we give a shout out to Simone Biles for having an embroidered goat on all of her clothes?
Always. I'm always happy to give a shout out to Simone Biles, who's still doing this, by the way, at 24 years old. And now here she is. She's qualified again. She had an incredible floor routine. She has 2 passes in the floor routine that are named after her, which is insane.
The goat.
And she has this incredible like double layout with a half twist on the second layout, which I don't even know how you make that work. But it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then she has her own move that I believe she also does on the big, I can't remember what it's called, but the pommel horse, essentially, not the pommel horse, but the other one, but the springboard. And she ends up doing like 3 flips and 2 rotations or something like that in it. She's incredible. She's remarkable. It's ridiculous. So I'm excited. I'm very excited for the Olympics. We also get Simone Manuel back into the Olympics as well, which is great. She ended up qualifying in the 50-meter freestyle.
And LSU also has two more freshmen in the Olympic trials tonight. The national champion men's track and field team. We got 2 more teams, 2 more players going. It's soon. Actually,
yeah, that's happening pretty soon, right?
It might be. One of them might be going on right now. We got the javelin and the triple jump.
Yeah. Oh, we also saw a shot put world record just a few days ago too. And it was the most remarkable thing I've ever seen because as soon as he let go, like as soon as he threw it, he just knew. Like he started celebrating immediately.
It
And
is
really
fun to
amazing.
watch people who just know. They just know.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like not Nick Young, right? But like actually know that they've done it.
Well, Nick Young was fun to watch for a different reason. Ross, I gotta be real. I gotta be real with everybody listening. The days of our show during the Olympics are going to be very Olympics based because
Yes.
I am hyped.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Summer Olympics in particular, so I'm all about it. I'm all about it. There's not a single event I don't enjoy outside of maybe the what is it called? The steeplechase. Just a long kind of drawn out endurance run to where people jump over hurdles and every now and then water. But you know what? Kill it. Go for it. It's great. But yeah, no, I'm all about it. I'm all about the Summer Olympics. All right, let's go ahead and jump to our break here. When we come back, we'll welcome on Jackson Gatlin. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Back here in just a moment. Dylan Ross, Sports, Full Press coverage, Full Press Radio Network.
Look at us. Plus, we also got Katie Ledecky.
Oh, Katie Ledecky was awesome.
She's a goat. Listen, U.S. running the world. That's all I gotta say.
And Katrina Young,
Listen,
platform diver.
I have a lot of feelings about our country throughout the year, but during the Olympics, it's time to put on.
You give everything else away. You give everything else up. You know.
Olympics and the World Cup.
I'll turn this shirt into a flag. You know, at some point, like just
listen. All in on America.
Patriotic buy-in during the Summer Olympics for sure. Steeplechase is a great race. Don't get me wrong; it's great. It's just not one that I enjoy watching as much as like the 400 meter, the 100 meters, and things like that because it is an endurance run. I think it's incredible. I could never do it, obviously. Because these people are running for like 19 minutes, nonstop, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a ton, especially when you're also having to jump over stuff and clear pools of water. But again, a lot of respect for it, just not one that I'm as excited by, of course.
Yeah. So tonight's tonight's LSU has two. They are going to be at 6 p.m. Central.
Okay, so right as we wrap up.
All right, should we let Jackson in?
Yes, please. Get Jackson in a little bit early.
Boom.
Booyah!
Wait, I can't hear you. Can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
Don't yell at him, Dylan.
You're muted. Can you hear us? I guess he can. Hello.
This is why we bring you in early.
Yeah. Oh, he's not doing the show today anymore.
He's just like, I'm out of here. These guys are idiots.
What do they know?
These guys are idiots.
The steeplechase is on tonight, Ross. Oh. Is it working now? Nope. I can't hear you.
I like how you both just double check in your settings real quick. Yeah. Make sure it's got the right microphone selected because
I don't know I don't know what the screen looks like for guests.
I do.
Okay.
Because I'm on it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
All right, we're going to be coming back here in about 5 seconds.
Okay.
We'll just have fun with this. All right, everybody, we are back. Dylan and Ross Save Sports, Full Press coverage, Full Press Radio Network. In just a moment, we're going to be joined by Jackson Gatlin as soon as we get some technical things fixed up here in just a moment. We're probably going to be trying with him on and off again until we get everything all set up. But he'll be joining us here in just a moment to talk a little bit about the Rockets and the draft going into the lottery tomorrow. What's the time for the lottery tomorrow? 7 p.m.?
7:30.
7:30
Wait,
p.m.
8:30 p.m. Eastern. 7:30
Right.
p.m.
Sorry, I
Central.
was thinking Central.
Yeah.
Central. That's my
8:30
bad.
p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central. We're gonna be here. We're gonna be live. We're gonna be rocking. Hopefully, hopefully we're gonna be happy.
I'll be happy no matter what, because no matter what, like the Pelicans either get a top 10 pick or just outside the top 10, so I'm perfectly happy with that.
Well, Ross, you better hope no one goes ahead of you,
Yeah, that would suck.
because you could drop if one of those teams. Oh wait,
I got it.
Yeah!
Hey, everybody, let's go.
Cool. Thanks for coming through, Jackson. We appreciate you. See you next time. Just kidding.
Oh, well, you know what? Well, it was fun, guys. It's been real. Oh, man. That was tough.
How are you, buddy? How are you, buddy?
I'm good now that I got the technical difficulties out of the way. I was cleaning up my setup earlier, and I had to move some of the USB ports around, and I guess I totally messed up the mic one. So glad we got it
good.
figured out, though.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Well, it's an interesting day. The 24 hours before the biggest moment in recent Rockets history, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, but wait. Not 24 hours from the biggest moment. Today is the biggest moment. Happy birthday, Jackson Gatlin. Coming on the show. It is now the biggest moment. And
That is fair.
hopefully you will be rewarded for your, if nothing else, Jackson, hopefully you will be rewarded for your diligence over the last, I'm going to say 2 years, because 2020 was messed up altogether. And then the 2021 NBA season for the Rockets has been, a bit, let's just say, testing, of course, and stuff. So we appreciate you being here and hope that your birthday has gone well and that tomorrow will go well for you too.
Well, my birthday was going well, but now I'm here, so I mean, it's kind of on the down. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I've actually, my birthday was in February. I'm still having the worst birthday because I was here.
just a 6 month long, just like
It's
it's
just
been
been
rough.
terrible.
No, I'm super excited to be here, guys, and to talk about the NBA draft, talk about the Rockets specifically, and get into whatever topics you guys want to get into. Because as Dylan pointed out, it is going to be a climactic day in Rockets history because this could really set up the franchise. It's not make or break, right? Like getting a top 4 pick, securing the top 4 pick in this draft would be huge for kind of expediting this rebuild. But the way that you really have to look at it is the Rockets gave up control of this pick when they included the swap in the Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook trade. And so now, because of how awful this season went and because of everything that, the Rockets dealt with this past season, they have a chance to reclaim that pick. So a 52.1% chance, a coin flip of a chance to retain their pick. I mean, coin flips have played out in the Rockets' favor previously with Ralph Sampson and with Hakeem Olajuwon, so maybe it happens one more time.
Right.
Man, and the way I'm approaching it is that it doesn't have to be the first pick. It doesn't have to be Cade Cunningham, but it would be awesome to be Cade Cunningham. But it doesn't have to be like a top 4 pick is a top 4 pick, and the top 4 of this class is really good. It's really
absolutely.
good, and it's a lot better than the pick 18 in this class would be. So
well, and I think this is such an important element to focus on, and it's one that I'm going to hammer home on Locked on Rockets, and I've even mentioned it before. Is the pick swap itself can't make you lose out on Cade. It can't make you lose Mobley or Suggs or Green. The pick swap effectively only makes you lose the number 5 overall pick, which for all intents and purposes, we're operating under the assumption that's going to be Jonathan Kuminga. So it's not a drop from Cade Cunningham to the 18th overall pick or Evan Mobley or Suggs to the 18th overall. No, you're losing out on Jonathan Kuminga and then going down to the 18th overall pick, which going into this draft, I kind of had, multiple tiers. You have Cade in his own tier. Then for a while, I had those other 4 guys in their own secondary tier, but I think there's been kind of a shift, at least for me and for a lot of, mock experts that kind of put Mobley, Suggs, and Green in their own tier. And then Kuminga's in that 3rd tier, by himself. And then there's kind of all the other prospects from, 6 through 20. So it's not as big of a drop as it feels like it is. It's just losing the pick is going to hurt regardless. But I think if you look at it through that scope, it hurts a little bit less.
That's a really, really good way to look at it, right? Because that is the reality. Like, you're not going to, if you get one of those top 4 spots, then you get one of those top 4 spots. The only time you lose out on anything is if you're outside of that, which makes a ton of sense in terms of the way to look at it. Y'all, Jackson Gatlin, host of Locked on Rockets at JT Gatlin on Twitter. So, you talked about the tiers there in terms of how you're tiering out these players. When you look ahead to tomorrow, the lottery, everything that's all going to be set up the way that it is, what is the ideal situation and the ideal player fit for the Rockets? Is it Cade Cunningham, or is there enough conversation to be had for some of these other guys?
I think there's no conversation to be had in the sense of like, okay, if we had, our pick of the top 4, does somebody make more sense than Cade? No, Cade is clear cut number 1. If the Rockets get the number 1 overall pick and do something other than draft Cade Cunningham, I will be the first one banging on Rafael Stone's door down at Toyota Center with pitchfork in hand saying, what the hell, man? No, if they land number 1 overall, they're drafting Cade. He is the clear cut most well-rounded prospect in this draft, defensively, offensively. He's got a really well-rounded offensive package, the shooting, the playmaking, the ball handling. He's got that edge about him where you can clearly tell that whatever team gets him, they're going to have their franchise guy for the better part of the next decade, depending on how long they can hold on to him. But
sure.
Past that, there's arguments to be had about the fit and the prospective ceilings and stuff of Evan Mobley, Jalen Suggs, and Jalen Green. And personally, for me, I actually tier those guys off in that exact order. So for me, I like Evan Mobley number 2 overall. I like Suggs at number 3, and then Jalen Green at number 4. And personally, I really love Evan Mobley because I think he's that unicorn style big. There might be some, duplicity there or duplicativeness, I should say, with Christian Wood and Evan Mobley, two kind of,
sure,
lankier bigs, not a lot of sand in the pants, ability to play on the perimeter. But I think with Evan Mobley, he's just too good of a unicorn prospect to pass up. And his defense coming out of the gate is an area that I think he can really hang his hat on. And the idea of an Evan Mobley, Christian Wood front court, very enticing to me. Jalen Suggs, another guy who has that kind of alpha dog mentality. And I think that given what we've seen out of him, I think his skill set means that he'd be able to play both, as a secondary ball handler, kind of orchestrating an offense, but also playing a little bit off ball in that secondary guard role next to Kevin Porter Jr. And I think that's a really interesting dynamic there. Get him right in, he's defensively, he'd be able to slot right in next to Kevin Porter Jr., have a really strong backcourt for years to come with those two guys. And then I'm a little bit actually more so down on Jalen Green than other people. I think the ceiling is still ridiculously high for him, but I have worries about his defense and how that translates. And I've seen too many times there be like these bona fide, they just an absolute bucket, right? Coming out of the gate from college, from wherever, and the defense never quite translates or the scoring doesn't quite translate at the NBA level. So the ceiling is really high there, but I'm not as high on him as other people are.
What I've been looking at with, I kind of have them pretty much ranked in terms of what I want. I have Evan Mobley really close to Cade Cunningham personally. I would really like that. What I think I like specifically about the Evan Mobley fit in Houston is that we know that Houston likes to play small. And with Evan Mobley, you have the agility and the speed and kind of the almost play style of a smaller guy, but the fact that he's still 7 foot and you're not actually playing down in size. I like his speed and his athleticism at how big he is.
Well, to put it, Richard Stayman of Locked on NBA Draft Podcast comparing Evan Mobley to Kevin Durant. No, he's been getting a lot of hell for that take. No, but it's one of those where he's a a true 7-footer, but with the agility, the foot speed of like a wing. And he's got that ability to play, to play a bit on the perimeter. You want to see a little bit of improvement from that outside shot, a good comp, right? A Chris Bosh-esque type player, sort of, where maybe, I think Bosh, for the most part in his career, wasn't as, highly regarded on the defensive end as he really should have been. He really, truly anchored some of those Miami Heat teams, with LeBron and D Wade, and the ability that he had to be able to slot up and go from playing the 4 to playing like essentially a small ball 5 is exactly the type of, fit that you're looking for with Evan Mobley potentially down the line. Now, again, there's some concerns there of running Evan Mobley and Christian Wood as your 4 or 5 combo, and you don't really have a true big, kind of anchoring your front line. But there's questions with Christian Wood and whether or not he's going to be in Houston for the long term, whether or not his age, his timeline actually meshes with the rest of the young core of the Houston Rockets. And I personally would love to see Christian Wood stay in Houston for the years to come. I think that they can re-up on his contract after this next 2 years if he continues to excel and really show that he can be a really solid two-way big in this league. There's no reason why he couldn't be, I don't know, entering his prime at, say, 28, 29, middle of his prime around 30, and be on a contract with the Rockets, while the rest of that young core, KPJ, KJ Martin, if they keep a top prospect in this draft, that young core is kind of coming into their own at that 23, 24-year-old range. You don't have to have players who are all within a year or two of each other to build a quote-unquote dynasty, right?
Yeah, that's a really, really great point. I just have to go back to the quality of sand in the pants, which I didn't realize was as important to me until you said that he didn't have enough sand in the pants. And I went, well, then forget that guy in my head. I don't know what it is about the sand in the pants thing, but I really, really enjoyed it. When you talk about that, do you mean like, are you just talking about size and presence on the inside?
It's more so not even because he does. So Evan Mobley does have a really good interior presence. And I think that, kind of what I mentioned about his defense kind of coming straight into the league. He, has good defensive awareness for a big his size. He's got a good, good shot blocking ability, a good eye on that end. And that's only going to get better as he, gets to the NBA level and gets, NBA level coaches around him and gets accustomed to the NBA speed. But I'm more so talking about actual physical frame, right? And that's the thing that it's not necessarily a huge concern, because when you think how many true blue, like big bigs are there in the NBA, you've got Jokic, you've got Embiid, and then I don't know, maybe you make the argument Karl Anthony Towns, but he doesn't exactly play like an old school bruisery big. And even the two guys that I just mentioned a moment ago, Jokic and Embiid, they have games where they do utilize their bigger bodies to take advantage of smaller post mismatches, which for them happens almost on a nightly basis. So maybe the concerns aren't as warranted there, but I do think that you look at a big like an Evan Mobley or even like a Christian Wood, and you'd like to maybe have another guy with some actual size next to one of those guys and let them play more their natural position of like the 4, and then let them situationally play the 5 when it makes sense on a given matchup. Very similar to Anthony Davis with the LA Lakers.
Who?
I'm sorry. I apologize. You had me for a split moment. I was like, I know Ross is a football guy, but like, and then
but he's not like that clueless, is he?
I had to think about it for a split moment, and then you know what it was? It was your the little NOLA on the end. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We don't talk about Anthony Davis in these parts.
That's right.
Unless you're talking about someone else thinking another city without Anthony Davis thinking New Orleans.
That's right.
It is just crazy that he never even said anything about New Orleans. That's
what I'm saying. But
I wanted to mention this. Say the Rockets do. Thinking back to a tweet you mentioned earlier that I hadn't looked in too much before, but now I'm starting to. Say the Rockets miss out on Cade Cunningham. They get say they get Evan Mobley. How would you feel about kind of a trade up? You're looking at players that they could trade back up to use 23, 24, move back up a little bit earlier. How would you feel about a consolation prize of like a Josh Giddey and still being able to run what you could with a Cade Cunningham maybe?
So I think like using Giddey as the example, right? I think that Cade is a bit more well suited to the idea of kind of I don't want to call it like a your turn, my turn style offense, but I think that Cade has the tools to not necessarily falter if he's, off ball for a possession or two, right? And I think that's what makes the fit there for any team who's looking at, that number 1 spot and salivating at the idea of Cade Cunningham. You slot him in with anybody, right? He's going to fit in seamlessly on any team you plug him into. And even the Rockets, for example, even though there's still gigantic question marks about what's going on with John Wall, whether or not he's part of the team this next season, are they going to be able to move off of that gigantic contract? Maybe the Knicks come knocking, maybe the Clippers are interested. I don't know, right? even if they have John Wall still next season, you can conceivably trot out a starting lineup that includes John Wall, Kevin Porter Jr., and Cade Cunningham occupying what is essentially the 3 spot, and just have 3 guys who are capable of ball handling, playmaking, and orchestrating the offense in their own right. And then just Silas will have the opportunity to stagger those guys throughout the game to have chances where it's KPJ running the system or Cade Cunningham running the system, or plays where, KPJ's off ball, Cade's running the show. Whereas I think Giddey is a bit more like, I think there's a bit more concern with, the outside shot for him and his ability to truly play off ball than it is if you take, say, Cade and sit him in the corner for a possession or two, or have him running, a 1-3 pick and roll with Kevin Porter Jr. I think Giddey's a guy who needs the ball in his hands to be effective, and that's not so much the case with Cade.
Mm-hmm. I like that last point a lot.
Who are some players that you would want to see the Rockets maybe move up for in the early non-lottery phase, or like late lottery?
So I'm actually at this point where I'm not 100% sure. One, it's so tough because we've got to see how the board kind of starts shaking out, right? Mm-hmm. And in my mind, there's not a singular guy where I'm so high on him that I would like to see them give up the 23rd and the 24th overall pick for a chance to move up, because there's just not a single guy that stands out to me that, that clearly that I think that they could actually move up to get, right? You're not going to package just the 23rd and 24th overall pick to get into, say, the lottery. I think that's probably a bit of a stretch. One pick that I've mentioned before, that we've discussed before, is potentially moving 23-24 to 17, to the Memphis Grizzlies. And maybe that's, a possibility there. But even then, to me, I don't see a singular guy that jumps off the page where you would be like, yeah, we've got to, instead of having 2 chances, right, 2 swings at a prospect, we're going to package these 2 picks up and move forward. But there are guys that I think are going to be available at that 23-24 range that are really interesting for the Rockets. I think hands down my favorite prospect right now, and a guy that I really want to see in a Rockets jersey next season, is Chris Duarte. I think he's basically
Dylan
like a Clay Thompson. He's a Clay Light.
That's fair.
Clay Light has been my comp for him, but to me, I just think that you look at a guy like that with the level of shooting that he has. He's coming out. He's already, I think, 23, 24 years old, so he's a bit 23. Older. There you go. So he's a bit older than some of the other prospects, which might be, might put a damper on some other teams looking at him. They might be looking at him like, oh, well, he's 3 or 4 years older than the rest of our young core. But I think for the Rockets, you're looking at their young core of Wood and Tate, who are both 25, KPJ and KJ Martin, who are both 20 years old. I think, he fits in that timeline so snugly. And I've just wanted a shooter like that on the Rockets for a long time. I had to talk myself out of the idea of like trying to finesse a trade to move into the lottery for Corey Kispert, because I think he's going to be a bona fide, star in the league, just as far as shooting goes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you high on Kispert?
We were just talking about Corey Kispert. I've become a little bit of a Zags fan after their most recent run. I'm an LSU fan first and foremost, but you pick a team once your other team gets eliminated and everything. Yeah. And I became a bit of a Zags fan over the course of their last season's run that they had. And man, we were just talking about him as a potential fit for the Pelicans if the Pelicans end up at 10, who of course is the team that I follow in the NBA, and what an excellent fit he would be for that team. But I don't have to bog you down with my hopes and dreams. I want to know more about what's going on with the Rockets.
No. This is important.
But it affects the division, right?
It does, and I really think Ross, if you separate your biases for a moment, as a Pels fan, wouldn't it just be the greatest thing for basketball if Cade Cunningham went to the Rockets? Because then you'd have a division that is stacked with Luka Doncic,
right?
Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, two Lukas. Yeah, you'd have Walmart brand Luka. Somebody called. It was like 2 months ago. Somebody called Cade Walmart brand Luka, and I haven't been able to get that idea out of my head ever since then.
I love it. Funny. But no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I mean, thankfully I follow the NBA a little bit more casually than I follow the NFL. So like the means by which one detaches are a little bit more, natural. And so, it's easy for me to look at this as a basketball fan and say that would be fantastic for the NBA to have all of these future stars. And really, honestly, I think in Luka's case, you can call him a star. In Zion's case, I think you can make the argument to call him a star as well, considering the fact that, you know, he took the league by storm before he ever even showed up in it. And then you would have the opportunity for a guy like Cade Cunningham to continue to develop there. And then potentially have all these other players, like you're mentioning, players that are already on the Rockets, these younger guys, and a Christian Wood who could peak a little bit later in his career, a little bit later, right, in his career. You know, you have somebody like a Corey Kispert that could potentially be added to that Pelicans roster. There are these really exciting things that can happen for the NBA moving forward, just like what we're seeing in the playoffs right now. It's where we're seeing all of these young stars. And I know injuries are a big factor of all of this too, but you're seeing all these young stars that are really making names for themselves in their own individual capacities in the playoffs.
Can we take a moment to appreciate both DeAndre Ayton and Trae Young for what they are? Because I hate this for them, and I hate this for Hawks fans and for Suns fans, because it's just unfair that those two guys will, for the remainder of their careers, be held up in comparison to Luka Doncic. And it's so frustrating because they're such great players in their own right. And maybe Luka, hit his ceiling a little bit faster than those two guys, but Ayton has been phenomenal this playoff run. The Suns wouldn't be what they are without his contributions. And then Trae Young, who is, people have him pegged as like the second coming of Steph Curry. And it's not that. He doesn't play like Steph.
And not at all.
At all. Completely different play styles. And it's still so exhilarating to watch him play, the way that he orchestrates that Hawks offense, the way that he's so calm, cool, and collected at the tail end of games. I think that in that game 7 against the 76ers, I think he was like at one point 2 of 16 or something. And he didn't let that bog him down. He went into that final frame with the same mentality that he always has. He's going to be calm, cool, collected, and under pressure, right? He got the buckets when it counted. He hit the free throws when it counted. And now the Hawks are in the Eastern Conference Finals. So,
right. Yeah. We were talking about that earlier, kind of like a raise your hand if you thought that the Hawks were going to be in the finals after a 14-20 start to the season. This is one of the best things about having Jackson on the show, who, again, you can follow on Twitter at JT Gatlin, is you're not only going to get the Rocket stuff, but also Thursday co-host of the Locked On NBA podcast as well. So, which is relatively new, if I remember correctly. Congratulations on that. And, a little bit more of an understanding around the rest of the NBA as well as just with the Rockets.
It is relatively new. Thank you, Ross. I appreciate that. It's some big shoes to fill, seeing as how that spot used to belong to David Locke himself, as well as Ben. Yeah, who? we don't talk about the Jazz in these parts either. No. Now, see, that was your turn earlier with the Anthony Davis thing. Now it's Dylan and I's turn to say, you know what, Jazz? No, we're good. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, there you go.
That team from up north? No.
Jackson, I wanted to ask you. We have a running gag here. Given
surprise.
Given 5 chances, do you think I could score on Trae Young? Given 5 chances.
How? No. Does
it help?
No.
Does it help that growing up in my church league, I was called Kyle Korver?
It does not.
I don't think that means much, Dylan. I think there's one thing that qualifies you for being called Kyle Korver on a basketball court.
I got the shot. We both have brown hair.
Yes.
I would be remiss. Man. I would be remiss if we went through this entire time and did not shoot over to the best website in the world, Tankathon, and look at a situation.
I'm glad you have it pulled up, because I had it pulled up over here. I was prepared as well. I've got the Tankathon sim ready to go.
We have to do it at least once.
Dylan does do it once a day, and sometimes I do it at the beginning of an episode just so that I know which Dylan I'm getting that day.
All right, let's see. Sim lottery. Oh no!
Shout out!
No. You know what? I never want to talk to Ross ever again in my life.
No!
Look at this strange top 4.
We gotta get Zion more help. Apparently, can't do it.
Oh no!
Man,
that is a wild lottery. You got Sacramento jumping up 5 spots, Toronto jumping up 4 spots, New Orleans jumping up 9. This is like a chaos sim. This is awful.
This is chaos sim right here. That's exactly what this is.
I would be lying if I said it wouldn't be kind of fun for this to happen, but I would also hate it.
Oh my.
Shay, you can't see it, but the New Orleans jumped up to 1 and the Rockets fell out. Shay, I know you're also a Pelicans fan. As we also do on the show, whenever the Rockets don't finish, let's just do it again.
Let's just run it again.
Oh wow! What is going on?
Okay,
There you go. Jeez, what did that take? Like 5 times?
This is the best of both worlds. All right.
That's never happened before.
So I'm also
this is great.
I'm also incredibly superstitious in that whenever I do a sim, I always reset it before I sim it a second time. I don't just keep mashing the sim button. Like everybody's got their little like sports superstitions. That's mine. Like before I
like
run
it.
the sim a second time, I always have to reset it. And fun
Reset
story,
it?
we there we go.
Nope.
Didn't work. Wow. You know, it's useless. It doesn't do anything. No. It was so funny when we started doing a weekly mock draft for Locked On NBA side, and the first week we did it because I kind of helped come up with the idea, and then Nick put a couple finishing touches on it, our channel coordinator at Locked On NBA, and when we ran it out the very first week, he ran the first sim, and he was like, "I gave you a second sim because the Rockets actually didn't get a pick on the first one. I felt really bad for you." So
that's excellent. And by the way, like those videos are awesome. That's great work by the NBA channel. You can find that over on the Locked On NBA YouTube page. Just search Locked On NBA on YouTube and you'll find it. It's really, really great stuff for that.
We're just trying to emulate what you guys did, the amount of thriving content that you guys had over at the Locked On NFL channel. I mean, you guys absolutely killed it with the NFL draft, all the analysis, the shows. It was just insane. And so we're trying to live up to that level of hype, Ross.
Man, it was great. It was so much fun. I'm excited to see everything going on with the NBA channel now moving forward. We're just going to talk a little Locked On for a moment, Dylan. But, I'm trying to find a way to get Dylan over there, by the way. I'm going to figure it out eventually. But there you go.
He's just gave
Jackson and Ross save Locked On. No, but I mean, one of the things you're going to be able to look forward to for anybody that's interested is not only those weekly videos, but also the Ultimate Mock Draft, which will be a 5-part episode that's going to come out on its own podcast feed. That's going to include analysis from everybody across the channel, as well as Brian Scalabrine is going to be a part of that, and several others. So that's going to be really great. Coach McDonough is going to be on that as well. And then you're going to have the actual live draft coverage that's being done by the channel as well on draft day. So lots of really great stuff. And I believe you guys are doing a live lottery coverage show tomorrow as well, right?
Yes. So that's something you're definitely not going to want to miss out on because I will be there. We'll have, I think most of the hosts who are in the lottery in some capacity are going to be there, and it'll be this amazing moment where you're either going to see tears of absolute like just joy and happiness from me, tears sponsored by Michelob Ultra, or you're going to see tears of sadness and defeat out of me, and then you're going to see happiness out of Rylan from over at Locked On Thunder, because if the Rockets lose their pick to the Thunder, then he is going to be over the absolute moon. And so those reactions, those live reactions, you're not going to want to miss out on. We'll have the feed running live on Twitter starting at 7 p.m. Central Time Tuesday evening. So
it's going to be awesome. We're also going to be live during the draft. What we're really going to do, or during the lottery, what we're really going to do is just share screen you guys.
We're going to close our cameras and then just have y'all.
Oh my goodness!
Stealing the shots.
That'll be that. Hey, I mean, whatever you got to do, but that'll be all kinds of fun, right? Just get my mug far and wide across the internet. That way, when I start crying, it goes viral.
I'm turning my camera off as soon as it comes through.
I wish I had that luxury, but
Dylan's probably going to shut his camera off if we get to pick 10 and it's not the Pelicans. Then he's going to be done for the rest of the stream at that point. And also want to get to your last thing before we get you out of here, Jackson, just the experience of having the great conversation with Matt Bullard, and then the breaking news that he would not be returning with ATT Sportsnet. Incredible job by you, by the way, with that interview, and that it ended up getting blasted all over the place. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, it was it took me by surprise, kind of, I reached out to Matt, and I hadn't had him on the show for a while, and I was like, hey, does this day work? And, we're talking about it, and, I had this great show lined up where we were playing, and we still covered a lot of great topics in there, talking about his time with Bill Worrell in the booth, and, how he views this Rockets young core and the timeline for the actual Rockets rebuild. We still hit on all those topics, but right before we sat down to record, we're just kind of, discussing stuff as we usually do. I'm getting him the rundown. He goes, hey, so I've actually got some news to share with you. And that's when he kind of dropped the bomb on me that he wasn't coming back. And, it was unexpected, unfortunate, because he's such a big part of this Rockets fandom, and has been such a big part of our lives for over the last decade, almost 15 years as a broadcaster. And so now losing both Bill Worrell and Matt Bullard is going to be a complete change of pace for the Rockets broadcast. Hopefully they're able to hold on to Craig Ackerman. Still no news on that front, but would love to see Craig be in the TV booth full time. He's been doing kind of split duties, radio and TV, splitting the duties with Bill Worrell. So, I mean, it was an interesting experience. Obviously not exactly happy breaking news, but happy that I was able to share the story and really kind of generate this support for Matt, because you really saw how frustrated Rockets fans were that he wasn't coming back to AT&T Sportsnet. So
yeah, great work, man. Great work. That was awesome.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for coming through, Jackson. Ross, I want to actually keep us on for a little bit longer today.
Ooh.
Talk about something.
Bonus content. All right,
Bonus
sounds
content.
good.
All right.
But
Well, I
Jackson-
will let you guys get to your bonus content. Appreciate y'all having me.
Dude, always a pleasure.
you.
Seriously, always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. So good to see you.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Have fun with the bonus
Have a good one.
content. Go Rockets.
Thank you. Go Rockets.
See you, buddy.
Let's go. Well, Ross, while we were live, I don't know if you've been on Twitter, but while in the middle of our show, we had I wanted to get to it because I don't know if we're gonna have if I'm gonna be able to do the show tomorrow, like our normal show. But I wanted to talk about it today because it's humongous news for the NFL. Let's take it over to Instagram real quick.
Yes. I'm so excited we're going to talk about this. Okay.
What's up, people? I'm Carl Nassib. I'm at my house here in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Just want to take a quick moment to say that I'm gay. I've been meaning to do this for a while now, but I finally feel comfortable enough to get it off my chest. I really have the best life. I got the best family, friends, and job a guy could ask for. I'm a pretty private person, so I hope you guys know that I'm really not doing this for attention. I just think that representation and visibility are so important. I actually hope that one day videos like this and the whole coming out process are just not necessary. But until then, I'm going to do my best and do my part to cultivate a culture that's accepting, that's compassionate. And I'm going to start by donating $100,000 to the Trevor Project. They're an incredible organization. They're the #1 suicide prevention service for LGBTQ youth in America. And they're truly doing incredible things. And I'm very excited to be a part of it, to help in any way that I can. And I'm really pumped to see what the future holds. That's all I have for you guys. I hope you have a great day. Work hard. What's up?
I love it. I love it so much.
That was actually, I think, both of our first time watching that video. But
Yeah.
of course, I had seen the news.
Yes,
Awesome.
exactly the same. Exactly the same. And the Trevor Project, by the way, is incredible. I encourage people. I donate yearly. Please, go and check them out. Everything, because the work they do is remarkable and tremendously important. Shout out to Carl Nassib for doing this. That is just. Oh, I want to curse so bad, but it's so great. That's so awesome.
The first active NFL player to come out. Of course, we know that he's not the only player in the NFL.
No,
But
right.
but he's the
Yeah.
first one to come out. I really hope that it just serves as for young football players coming up, people still in the league, because adults have emotions too and have problems dealing with them. So I just hope that this is a huge moment, and I'm really excited about it, and I really hope that I know it'll work out well in the end.
He becomes a springboard at this point, right? He comes out, he does this, he comes out literally, and if he's not met, I'm sure that there will be people who have hateful things to say and whatever, they're hateful people, but if he does that and then kind of nothing changes for him as far as the NFL goes, then all of a sudden you start, he's going to get a lot of phone calls from a lot of other NFL players over the next 48 hours saying, hey, thank you. Between you and I, me too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping that this is met with such grace, positivity, and positive reflection of what it can mean for the NFL that we start to see maybe more of these players come forward. As you mentioned, future players and players that are still in the NFL. It brings us back to Michael Sam, right? Who was drafted as an openly gay player, but now to have somebody in the NFL who has been active and has been playing for, I don't even know how many
6 or
years,
7
been around
years
for a while. Yeah. Coming out and saying, this is who I am. What an incredible potential step forward in the way that we talk about queerness and non-straightness in professional sports.
Yeah, someone who's played in 73 career games.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's awesome. This is just an awesome thing, and I wanted to be able to talk about it a little bit because I don't know what tomorrow's going to look like before our lottery show.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad you did because I saw it while Jackson was on and while he was talking, I was so excited about it, but I didn't want to interrupt or anything like that. But I hope that this goes the way that it should go. Mm-hmm. I think that's what I mean to say because he deserves to be supported and he deserves positivity in this moment, as do other players that are hopefully inspired to come forward and that are hopefully inspired to be themselves openly and everything. I just know that, not everything goes the way that it should. But despite that, congratulations to Carl Nassib for making himself known. Because that's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. And hopefully other people seeing themselves reflected in that.
Yep. So that was the bonus content. Just wanted
bonus
to get that out. Favorite thing from Twitter. Easily.
Favorite thing from Twitter.
Performance of the day.
Performance of the week. We're not even going to do performance of the day for the rest of the week unless somebody's got to drop 70 to beat that.
Or the Rockets just got to get into the top 4. For me, I'm joking.
The bar is low, but the bar is high, right? The bar is low, but the bar is high. I absolutely love it. Great stuff, Dylan. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, and you know what, Ross? I don't care what we did to save sports. Carl Nassib saved sports.
Carl Nassib saved sports today.
Shout
Absolutely. Forget saving sports from us.
No.
Carl Nassib did his thing. That's so great. That's awesome.
So thank you, Carl, for sharing that. Thank you, Jackson, for coming on today. And it was a great show. This was a great This was a great episode, Ross.
This was a lot of fun. And we'll be back at it tomorrow, either at our usual time or with the live show. The live show for sure during the lottery. We'll see about the tomorrow show. But if not, today's show will run again. And like we said, it was a great show. So
it was a great. And honestly, it'll work. It'll work just as well today as it did tomorrow as it did today because we did a heavy lottery show today.
Yeah. Very. All right. Enjoy the rest or the remaining Olympic qualifiers the rest of the day. Some MLB action, no NBA action tonight, and some NHL action on the way as well. But we'll be back tomorrow, at least for the live show. Go and check out the Trevor Project. Follow Dylan on Twitter at Dilly Sanders, myself on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola, and of course check out Full Press Radio. We will see you tomorrow, one capacity or another. We appreciate you very much for being here. It's Dylan Ross, Sports Full Press coverage, Full Press.